You know those navbar where on desktop you have everything straightened out, then on mobile you won't see anything, you just see the hamburger menu, you click open, then the navigation will slide out maybe from left or top or something like that.
I've not built something like that before.
Okay. Yeah, something like this. It's gonna look like this on desktop. Then when you come to mobile, it's gonna be like this, where you're only going to see this. Then when you click on the hamburger menu, this will come out from the right.
I've not built something like that before.
Oh, okay.
I'm not built something like that.
That is essentially what I wanted us to go through today. We're going to be using HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript to control like the
JavaScript.
opening and closing of the stuff.
Closing. Okay.
Okay, yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So we actually started out with the desktop styling. At the moment, it is not responsive. Let me show you.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yes, you still have to scroll.
Yeah, it doesn't change with the screen. It is not responsive at the moment.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making it responsive. Then we're going to be building the mobile layout to have that functionality where if you click the menu, it will slide out from the
Yes.
left. So that is what we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's see what we want to do here now. So basically this is what we have and we're trying to make this responsive. So let's look at the styling first. I think we've done most of the styling. Okay, let's start with, from here now I can see most of the stuff are not in the center, like exactly in the center. Let's start with that part. So we'll go to our header. Hold on. We can use align items center. That should place everything. Oh, sorry. I'm using SAS. I wasn't compiling my SAS. That was why. Where is? Okay, yeah, they're working now. Because I knew align item is supposed to work now. Yeah, I wasn't compiling my styles then. That was why. Okay. So all our stuffs are in the center. Align item center fixed that for us. Let me open up the style here so we can see what we need to do. Okay, I think next thing I'll do is fix that number 3 beside the cat. That one is going to be easy. Just make it look like this. So where is? So this is it here. We have the cat wrap. Then we have the span inside it. That is one that is holding the number 3. We have icons wrap. Inside icons wrap, we have the cat wrap. So to target the cat wrap, we'll do dot cat wrap. So I'm going to give the cat wrap. So basically that number 3, I'm trying to position it at the top of it. So I'm going to be using an absolute position. Well, I want it to be absolutely positioned to its parents, which is the cat wrap. So the span is what is holding the number 3. So I want to make that span absolutely positioned. But what absolute positioning does is positions itself relative to the nearest relative parent. So if I do absolute by default like this, let me show you. If I say position absolute for that span. Okay, let's style the span first before we go into the position. Let's style it. Let's say padding. Let's say top and bottom of 3 pixels. Then on the side, let's give it 5 pixels. And let's give it color of white, I think. Then border radius. Let's give it like 15 pixels. Then the background color is some kind of orange. Okay, you can copy that here. we click on the inspect part here, we can see font weight 700, font size 10 pixels. Okay, so we'll say background color, let me paste that. So the font weight is going to be 700, then font size is 10 pixels. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, I think the one is a bit wider, so let me give it a bit more padding. Let me reduce this to like 1, make this one like let's say 8 pixels. Okay, I think that is better. Okay, so now now they are side by side by default. That is the way things are positioned by default. But now we're trying to take this and put it on top. Okay, let me remove this behavior here. Okay, so now we're trying to take that stuff. Okay, this is what we're trying to take this now and put it at the top of the cart here. So at the moment now, the two of them are wrapped inside one div. But now we're trying to make this one absolutely positioned and put it at the top. So how absolute position works is it is either relative to the container of the whole site or the nearest container that has position relative. So at the moment, if I give it a position absolute, that's the span containing the number 3. If I say position absolute, let me say top of 0, then it should be on the right side. I mean, this is our right here. Then right of 0. Let's see what will happen to it now. Can you see where it is going to? It is going to the top right of the page instead of the top right of the container here. But we want it to be on the top right of its container, not the page. So in order to make it relative to its container, which is this cat wrap, so this is it in the HTML.
Yes.
This is the span here, and this is the container. We want it to be relative to the container. That means at the top right of this container. So we target this container by targeting the class cat wrap. Where's our header? So inside the cat wrap, what we do is we give it a position of relative. So once the parent has a position of relative, any absolute within it will be positioned relative to it. So that would change it back. So now it is positioned relative to the container. But now I think we need to adjust the position a bit. I think we can just do we can say I think our top we might want to do minus 50%, and our right also maybe minus 50%. Let's see how that works out. Okay, I think that is good. Let's bring it down a bit. Instead of minus 50, let's say top is minus 30 or something. Okay, yeah, I think that is perfect. So that is how you work with absolute positioning. Okay, I think our desktop header is ready at this point. Yeah, well, besides the orange stuff we're supposed to have under here, so let's see if we can fix that one. And also the padding is looking weird, so let me look at the padding we have here. We have 34 on top, 28 on bottom. 34 on the top, 28 on the bottom. Oh, we're having exactly the same thing. I don't know why one is looking a bit weird. It's looking like it's bigger, but it's not. Okay, I think this should have a cursor pointer. So we say our cat wrap should have a cursor pointer. Okay, that is good. And also when you hover on it, I think the color gets a bit darker from the design. It gets a bit darker. So we'll target the did I put it as an image or an SVG? Oh, I put it as an image. So we can't manipulate the color since it's an image. We have to switch it to an SVG. Okay, so to switch it to an SVG, we just check for the SVG files here. Icon cat SVG. I'm just going to copy the SVG. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just move the class. To the SVG. So I'll comment out the image. So we'll be replacing it with an SVG. Let me make sure everything is still working properly. Okay. Everything is still working fine. So what we can do now is we can change the fill of that SVG. So whenever you hover on it, we want it to get darker. So what we can do is come here.
Okay.
So we target the SVG inside the cat wrap, and we say on. No, we target the over state of the cat wrap. Then we say when you hover on it, the SVG inside of it, we want to change the.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with SCSS.
Oh.
So I don't know what does the
okay. What this means is I'm trying to do this. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to target the overstate of cat wrap.
Okay.
Yeah, but since I already have cat wrap written here, I don't need to type out cat wrap again. I can just do and.
Okay.
So it means the same thing as cat wrap. So the overstate of it, then the SVG inside of it, we change the fill to black. Okay, I think that is working now. Okay. Okay, what else? Okay, I think that is it for the desktop. I think let's focus on the responsiveness. That is our main aim. Okay, it's something I want to do. The what's it called? The items here, they have this little border stuff when you hover on them. So I think we can add it.
Yes.
So in order to do that now, we need to I want to add those stuff as a border to the items.
Okay.
So I want to add it as a border to this. So in order for the border to be here, that means this has to be as tall as this. So instead of the padding being inside the header, it has to be on this list item. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, come again.
Okay, let me illustrate it. Okay, this is it has a 4 pixel height, and this is the background color. So let's just put it there first. So what I'm going to do is each of the list items. Okay, when you hover on it, it will have a border bottom of 4 pixels, I think. 4 pixels solid, then this color. So let's see. Okay, so but now it is not okay. Let me change something. I don't want the height to change whenever we add a border to it. So what I can do is I can change it to, I can give it a box sizing of border box. Everything self is initially supposed to be border box. Okay, that is not helping us. Okay, let's give it a transparent border initially so that the height won't be changing. So border bottom 2 pixels solid transparent. So that way the border is already there before. Okay, still adjusting a bit. It's better now. Okay, so now that orange stuff, we want it to be all the way at the bottom here. That is what I'm talking about. So the reason why it is here instead of at the bottom is this is the height of this list item. So in order to make this orange stuff come to the bottom here, that means we need to make this list item as tall as this, like should be as tall to the bottom here. Wait, can we do that, or is there another way? So okay,
I think that's the best way.
I'm kind of thinking that is not the best way. There's always like more than one way to go about things in this way. So I'm looking, if we make it as tall as that means even if my cursor is under it here, it will be showing as if it is on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we're making it the full height. So even if I am here, it will be showing as if I am hovering on it like this, which is kind of not good. So I'm thinking, is there another way to do it? So I have an idea. Have you guys used pseudo elements before? Your before and after.
Oh no, I'm not.
Okay, let's use pseudo elements. I think that will be a better implementation. So what we want to do is when you hover on it, it will get a pseudo element instead of the border. So let's remove the border implementation. So what we're going to do is, so pseudo elements are elements that it's called false elements. You can read up on it later. I think the MDN or the W3 page, they actually detailed it a lot. I've read it a bit. That was the page I read to really understand it. Yeah, this page. So I think they gave the list of all the pseudo elements. So moving on. So we can use the before and after pseudo elements. So I think here let's use the after pseudo element. So I'm going to say after. So it's going to have a content, but we don't really want anything there, so it's just going to be empty string. Then the width is going to be 100%. The height is going to be 4 pixels. Then it is going to have the orange background color. So we're basically creating that border, but we're creating it as a separate element. So background color, this. So now where do we want to put it? So we need to position it. So I'm going to be giving it a position absolute. But now because we want to position it relative to the list item itself, we need to also give the list item a position relative so that it will be relative to it. So now, okay, we've given it position absolute. Where do we want to position it? We'll say bottom. I think it will be at the center by default. So from the left it should be 0, so that if it's from the left 0, it will take the full length. Then from the bottom it has to go down very well. So let's say bottom of, I think padding on the bottom was 32. Yeah, so let's say minus 32 pixels. So I think that should do it. So let's see. So can you see it now? So now so with this implementation now I can stay here and it's not like I'm touching this exactly. So it only shows when I'm actually hovering on it. Well, I don't think it's at the right spot.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to touch the line, I guess.
Yeah, it's supposed to touch the line. And so it's a bit further from the line. So let's say 38 pixels.
Almost there.
Mm. 44 pixels. Hopefully this will work. Okay, I think like 2 more pixels. What is this? Yep, perfect. So I think this is a better implementation. Okay. So I think our desktop navbar is completely fixed now. So now, how do we make this responsive? It is perfect like this for our desktop. But now to make it responsive, so first we have to decide where. Okay, I did a little bit of responsive stuff the last time. So in the HTML, I put in the what's it called? The hamburger button and the close button while we were setting up the what's it called? Why do I keep forgetting this word? The markup. Thank you. Markup is the word I'm trying to remember. So this HTML stuff, that's the markup. So if we look here, this is the image that is representing the hamburger button. And there is also the one for the close icon. This is that here. But if you look inside our layout at the moment, you won't be seeing them. If you look at the moment, you won't be seeing them anywhere. So what we did is we hide them on desktop and only show them on mobile. If you look now, I'll show you the media query that is handling that. But if you look, if I keep scaling down, at some point it will pop out. Okay, can you see it now? This is the hamburger, this is the close. So we use the media query to hide it on desktop and only show it on mobile. I think this is the media query here. So what I did is I give them a class of mobile. That is to say that they only show on mobile. And I targeted that class. I think that is in our main style. Okay, so I targeted the mobile class. So I gave it a display none on desktop. Then when the width is less than 800 pixels for mobile, then it has a display block. So it will only show on mobiles. So that was what I did for that part there. So now let's move on. So if we actually look at this now, before we even get to, so we're saying our mobile will start from 800 pixels. That is what we decided. Let me see. I think 800 pixels is a bit too wide. What do you think?
Yeah. Yes. It's like the screen of an iPad, I think, or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like the screen of an iPad. So what I'm thinking now is we can't just jump from desktop to mobile. It is not looking good like this. This is obviously not looking good. So we need an intermediary for like tablet mode and to adjust it. So we need to decide where that breakpoint is. I think it is still looking good at this point. Kind of don't focus on the body because we are not concerned with the body. We're not. So I think if we scale it down slowly, I think around 130 is when it starts looking. It's not looking good at this point. It's looking a bit too jam-packed. I think around 1130. I think let's put a breakpoint for our tablets around that point. So I can just copy this same media query. So at that point, let's go inside our header. So let's say 1130. Okay, so what do we want to do at this point? So I think we kind of want to make everything in the header. We want to make them smaller. yeah, everything looks good, but they're looking a bit too big, and I think we also want to reduce this padding on the body. I think it's a bit too much at this screen size. I think that one self will probably have to reduce it even before that. I think we should reduce that somewhere around this 1200. So this is how I come up with all these breakpoints. You just like have to check the site, see at the point where it starts looking a bit weird, and then you have to like change the styles. So when it is full screen, this padding on the side is good, like all the spaces on the side is good. But when the screen starts getting smaller, that space starts looking too big. I think somewhere around this 1200 is where the space starts looking too big. So at that point, I want to reduce the space. I want to reduce this padding on our body. So I'll be targeting our body and also giving it a media query. So max width of 1200. Let me just do okay. So I want to change the padding here now. So this is the initial padding on desktop. Kind of doing desktop first here. Okay, so we have 165. I think let's change it to around like 68. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. I think we might want to make it a bit bigger. This is too small. Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's say 80. Let's see what 80 looks like. I think let me try 120. Let's see. Okay, I think this looks a bit better. 120. Okay, so let's scale it down again. Let's see. Okay, so it's still looking good. I think somewhere around 1000 it starts looking a bit too much again, or even around 1050. Let me put it at 1040. So I'll be reducing it again at 1040. So we'll create another media query, max width of 1040 pixels. Then we'll be reducing that padding to 80 pixels. So let's see what that looks like. What is happening? I think what is going on? Okay, yeah, I think this is looking good. Okay, this is looking good. Still looking good. Okay, so I think at this point I might want to reduce the fonts and the size of the image. Okay, so there's this trick I usually use for this stuff. I don't know, should I use it here? I'm trying
What
to
trick?
yeah, I'll explain it in a second. No, they don't scale proportionally, so okay, we won't be using it here, or maybe on another build. There's a certain trick I use with EMs that allows me to scale things proportionally. Like I'll reduce the size and the fonts and everything will reduce proportionally. But everything is not reducing proportionally, guys. So that would be a bad thing to use here. I think we just have to reduce those fonts manually. So from 1040. So let's go to our header. Let's copy the media query and come to our header. 722. Oh god, I must finish all this thing with JavaScript by 8. Okay, so the logo is where I will be starting with. Yeah, how did I set the logo size again? Logo here is width of 138. Let's see what we have in our design. We have 138, but on mobile it is also 138. So the logo size did not change at all from desktop to mobile. So that means we'll be leaving our logo as it is. Okay, so that means what will be changing are the list items. And also I think I checked the icons did not change. So icon size here is roughly 20 by 20. No, I'm trying to select the icon. So icon size also does not change from desktop to mobile, but this one changed. This one is now 24 by 24. So the image changed from, I think, 50 to a size of 24. Okay, so let's start with that one. I think it has a class of avatar, icon wrap avatar. So let's target that. Dot icon wrap dot avatar. So we'll change the width to, I think, 24, right? 24 pixels.
No. The avatar. Is it the spelling?
Oh, I was starting to wonder why this spell was not working. Okay, so let's see it now. I think, is it 24? Is it 24 or more? This is looking too small. Actually 24. Okay, we're still on iPad here, so I think we can still make it bigger. So instead of 50, we can bring it down to, let's say 38. Okay, I think we can still bring it down a bit more. Let's say 30. Okay, now let me increase it a little bit more. Okay, I think this is good. I think we can reduce the spacing in between these two. Okay, icons wrap. So all these adjustments I'm doing, let's say we were given a, what's it called, an iPad design or a tablet design, we can just use that design. But in this case, we're not given a tablet design. They just gave us a desktop and a mobile design. So we just have to like scale with our eyes and kind of adjust it to make it look good for the, just to account for what we were not given. You understand? So in most cases, it's usually like this. Designers will just do like mobile and desktop, and they'll just leave the tablet for you to figure out. Okay, so we want to reduce the space between those two. So we see our icons wrap. I think the gap is 46. So let's reduce that gap. So instead of 46, let's reduce it down to, let's say, 28. Okay, I think that is much better. Let's reduce the font size of all these list items also. So where are those ones? So navbar nav ul li. Font size is currently 15. So let's target that. So target the list item. Font size at the moment is 15. Let's reduce it to, let's say, 13 pixels. Okay, that is looking better. Let's reduce the spacing also. I think let's reduce the spacing a bit. So currently it has a gap of 32. Let's bring that down to about 24. I think 24 should be good. So let's say 24 pixels. Okay, so I think this is looking better. This is looking good. It's looking good. At this point, I would have started like doing all the adjustments again, but I think let's just jump straight to mobile once it start looking bad. So somewhere around 800, yeah. So from 800, let's just take it straight to the mobile view. So now let's jump into the mobile. So our site is looking, or our header is looking good on desktop and tablet at the moment. So if we stretch it out and bring it back down, everything is perfectly responsive. So now let's put it around that 800 and start working on our mobile. Let me just shift to mobile view. Let me use, no, bad. This is going to look bad because of the body. Yeah, let's see if we can quickly fix the body.
Alright.
So I think the body at the moment is side by side. You can just put them stacked on each other so we can focus on our header.
I can see that you've added JavaScript.
No, hey.
I think to the plus and minus.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a completely different functionality. So don't worry about that. This is what the JavaScript is. So we added
Increase the number,
JavaScript.
Abi.
Yeah, to increase the number.
Okay, but for the thumbnail, what's it doing?
Thumbnail. Okay, this
Yeah.
one. So change the main picture.
Okay.
So we added JavaScript for all that. So that is what we did there. So you kind of don't need to worry about that.
Alright.
So let me change this layout once we get to mobile view. I think our mobile view is now 800. Or where should we change it? Let me see. And this thing is already not looking good, sir, before 800. I think we can just leave it at 800. Still manageable. I'm not really concerned about the body now, so let's leave it at 800. Let's come to our style here. So which container is that? Okay, that is the main. It's the main that is holding this two. Where is it? Okay, this is it right here. Okay, so we can add a media query inside it. So that's media screen, and so we're giving the max width of 800 pixels. So it is a display grid, I think. Okay, so we're going to change it to a 1 column layout. So we're going to say grid template column. It's going to be 1 FR instead of 2. Yeah, I think that should fix it. Let's see. Once we go below 800, yeah, I think this is manageable for now. Okay. There's also something. On the mobile, our what's it called? Our navbar is taking the full length, so we need to kind of get rid of this padding once we're moving to mobile. So I think we can put the padding on the body and get rid of it on the header. So what we're gonna do is
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
If at any point you are not understanding, please just let me know.
Alright.
So we say the padding is 0, then we're going to put that padding on the main itself. So I'm going to give it a padding top 0, left and right, and let's say 60. No, 60 is too much. Should I 4M should do? Okay. I'll give it a bit of padding top also. Bottom 0. Okay. I'll give it top and bottom of 2rem. Why is it not working? I think. Okay. Let me increase it to 3rem.
Okay.
This is what this thing is looking like. So desktop all good, tablets all good, mobile. So this is what we have on the mobile for now. So time to fix this rubbish that we're having here. Okay, where do we start from? Let's look at our design. Okay, we need to do a lot of cleanup first. So this is what our design is looking like. Let's try and get everything cleaned up to look like this first. I think I'll have to remove that padding top that I added. So I'm gonna have 0 at the top, 3rem at the bottom. Okay, so now let's go back to our mobile styles here now. So let's do at media 800, which is where our mobile styling is coming from. Media screen and max width of 800. What is all this rubbish? Okay, so what do we start with? Okay, I think first thing we want let me see. Okay, let's remove the border. I don't want. Let me just fix this body thing so it's not making our design look weird. Okay, I think that is all we need to do there. So let's go back to our header now. I think that is looking good enough. Back to our header now. So we said we're going to be starting with okay, where do we start from? Let's start with fixing our padding. So let's look at what our padding is here. 19 top, 25 bottom, 24 on the side. So we'll see our padding 19 pixels at the top, 24 pixels on the side, 25 pixels at the bottom. Okay, that is good now. So what else? Okay, these two, let's put them side by side, the hamburger menu and the logo. So what is the space between them? They have a 16 pixel 1rem space between them. Okay, so what is the wrapper that is holding the two of them? That is the logo wrap. So let's target the logo wrap. So target the logo wrap, we'll give it a display of flex. So that will put them side by side. So we say align items center, then also gap of 16 pixels. I think that should, okay, that is good. Are they perfectly aligned? Okay, yeah, I think they're aligned.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's looking like the logo is.
The logo is on top of it. Like I have it.
I don't know, is it my eyes? It's kind of like the hamburger is a bit up than the logo.
Yes, it does. It looks like that. Looks like that.
Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, we'll fix that now. So so the hamburger is inside the logo wrap. This is it here. That's an ID of hamburger. So let's target that. And just target the image directly. So to bring it down a bit, I think I might just do a margin bottom of -2 pixels. So that will bring it down by 2 pixels. So I want to give it a cursor pointer also. So I think that should fix that. Then bring it down. Yeah, something is looking weird, yeah. Oh, it is affecting the logo. It is affecting the logo. We're trying to affect just the hamburger, so I think I'll have to use the ID. What is the ID again? Let me copy it. Okay, the two of them are images, so I was using the image tag before. So it was affecting the both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, so I think it's looking good now.
Yes.
So now this is having a cursor pointer. So if we click that, our menu should open. That we'll be fixing that with JavaScript. Okay, let's look at our style. What is okay? The carts and this are still there. So that means we just need to make this one in the middle. We need to make it disappear. Everything is good now.
Yes.
So now this one now let's undo this one. How do we undo it?
Are you planning to use it for JavaScript?
Yep.
We want to create another one for it.
No, this one here now. So our header is actually looking good now. The only thing is we need to get rid of this one in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, do you plan to use it for anything?
Yeah, we plan to use it for. We plan to use it. No, we can't use display none because we want to get this functionality. Can you see where it will come out from the side?
Yeah, side. Yes.
Yeah, so we want to get this functionality. So basically, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be hiding it somewhere outside the view. Then we're going to be sliding it in whenever you click on this. So we're not giving it display none, we're moving it outside the view. I think we'll be giving it a display of absolute, then we'll put it outside. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. So what we do now is, where is our header? So I'm going to do something to our header. Okay, no, I'm going to do it when the time comes. Okay, so that part now, what is the wrapper for it? I think this is it here, our nav wrap. Okay, so inside this nav wrap, I want to do something else. I want to wrap everything in another div. Let's that mess things up a bit. maybe a little. Okay, I want to wrap it in a div and name it nav contents. Okay, I'll explain the reason why in a second. Okay, this will affect our mobile, our desktop styling. So let me quickly fix that. So nav wrap. I'm looking for all the styles that we did on nav wrap. Okay, so we didn't style nav wrap directly, so yeah, that is a good thing. So everything should still be looking fine. Yeah, everything is still working fine. Okay, so why I added that extra div, let me explain that now. So if we look at the mobile style, we're going to be seeing this blurry background here, right? Guys, are we flowing?
Yes.
Okay, so if we're
Yes,
using
yes.
the box model view to look at it, this is one box, the entire thing. This black place is another box, that is 2. Okay, sorry, this black is one box, the entire thing. This white is another box. Then inside this white is where we now have the cross and the list of navigations. So that is why I needed one extra div there. So the big div, the nav wrap, will be the black box. Then the nav contents will be the white box. Then inside the white box we now have our image and the nav list. Do you get it?
So wait, the nav content is on the nav wrap.
Yes.
Like when you write it. Okay.
Yeah. The nav content is the white box. The nav wrap is the transparent black box.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we get that, let's fix it. So nav wrap. Control C. Okay, I'll be removing the transition, putting it, then okay, transition only the opacity. I think that would be a nice move. Okay, so let's go to the header. So we're going to style it now as if it is opened. Then we'll figure out how to make it closed later on. So now let's style it now as if it is opened. So our nav wrap is going to be position absolute. So width 100 view width, that's to take the entire space. Height of 100 view heights. Top 0, right or left, anyone. Left 0. So this will basically just make it take up the entire space. Then let's give it a z index to make sure it is above everything else. So z index of like 100 should do. Okay, let's see what we have now. Yeah, good. It is above everything, but we can notice that at the moment.
Yes.
Okay, so in order to make that obvious, let's add this background color. So background of black, opacity 0.75. Let me just copy all that. Okay.
Sorry, what's mixed blend mode?
It's a bit of advanced CSS. I don't fully understand it myself. It's not something I really use.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now all this is, it is above it now. Now we need to style all this inside it properly. But before we do that, okay, yeah. Why are we having an overflow? What is overflowing? Okay, the nav distance itself is overflowing. Why?
Yes. Give it 100, Abby.
Yeah, I gave it 100, so it should be
It's not meant
exactly.
to overflow then.
It's not meant to overflow at all. Okay, I think just prevent all that headache. Basically, just go to your body and do overflow x hidden. So anything that is overflowing in the horizontal direction is automatically hidden, so we don't have to worry about all that headache. So now let's tell our nav now. Can you see everything is falling in place little by little?
By little.
Yeah. So now let's fix this. So this is our nav wrap here. I think the width is about, okay, if this is 250 and this is 375, 250 over 375, how many percent is that?
Oh, shit.
Let me quickly use calculator. I can. 250 over 375, 250.
0.67. That's 66.66666.
60, let's just say like 67% then, Abby.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so our nav, what is inside the nav wrap? I think we named it nav content. Let me just check.
Yes.
So our nav content, which is going to be our white distance. So let's target it. So width of 67%, height of 100%, background color white, opacity 1. So this one is not opaque like its background. So okay, the opacity, I think it is the mixed blend mode, guys. Okay, somehow the opacity is still affecting it.
Is it on top of it?
Yeah, it is on top of it.
What of the Z index? It's not affecting it. Huh? You know,
The Z index would affect it. Okay, I think what we can do is make it absolute on its own, or its parent is absolute. So okay, I think there's another way around this. There's another way around this. Oh, why is the opacity? Why is it like, okay, it's a direct children kind of. Okay, I think we, instead of giving it an opacity, we only want the background to have this opacity. So what we can do is change the color. So this is another trick here. The color is in X mode here. I can change it to a BG or RGB color by just coming here and clicking this top to change from HSL. So now we have RGB. Now we can change the RGB to RGBA, which allows us to add opacity to the last parameter, 0.75. So with that we can remove this opacity, and only our background is going to be having that opacity. So I think, yeah, problem fixed. So this is working good now. So let's style the contents inside of it now. Okay, so I think we'll be giving it a bit of padding, 25 on the side. Yeah, I think 25 on top also, so 25 pixels all around. I think we can remove this opacity one, so you can say padding of 25 pixels all around. Then we can give it a display. We don't even need a display flex. Yeah, so now let's target our close button. So what is, I think I gave it an ID of close. check to confirm now. Okay, give a close image. That is the ID. So let's target that. So close image. So what do we want to do to our close image? We say cursor pointer, also margin bottom. So what is the space between the two of them? Okay, about 54 pixels. So margin bottom of 54 pixels. Okay, let's see what we have. Yeah, looking good. So now let's fix this one. So I think it is all on set. I think. Yep, that is it. So it removes all the initial stylings that were added. So we want to do the same thing for our list item also. So we can start the styles afresh. All on set. Why? What happened? And I think the list item one is kind of affecting the UL itself. This property is not something I use often. I don't really.
You can leave it, then flex horizontal.
Yeah, but I don't want to start clearing all the initial styles, especially the after. Okay, well, it's not much of a problem, sure. It's not much of a problem. So let's just clear out all the initial styles. So we say, I think initially it was a display flex. So we're going to change flex direction to horizontal, like you said. Flex direction. I'm sorry, vertical.
Vertical.
That would be column.
Yes.
Then
Column.
you still there yet? Okay, so they have a gap of 20 in between. The list item, I need to remove the pseudo elements we added earlier. So I'll say after. Display none. Oh, okay, that is working. So let's change the font size and other shits. You can just get all that from here. Okay, I think we're getting there. Let's just give it a little bit of overstate. So when you over on it, what's the initial gray color? Yeah, this is it here. Okay, I think our mobile nav is done. But now, how do we close? If we click, nothing is happening. Okay, so this is where JavaScript, yeah, this is where JavaScript is gonna come in. Actually, there's a little stuff I wanna do. Okay, now this thing is scrollable. and you can scroll out of this thing. So I don't want that, so I'm going to be, instead of using position absolute, I think I'll be using position fixed. I think that'll be the best alternative. Yeah, so position fixed, even if you scroll, our navbar is always on top of the entire thing. So yeah, that is sorted out. But now, when we close this thing now, I want two type of animation. I want this thing to slide back inside, the white part to slide back inside. Then the black part, I want that one to just like dissolve. The opacity will reduce to 0 and it will like dissolve completely. So that is what I want to do. So let's see how we can figure that out. Let's see how we can figure that out. So okay, now what we're going to do is all these styles that we've done so far,
Yes.
all these styles are for when it is opened, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this nav content, let me fix this one here. So it's also going to be position absolute, top 0, then right of 0. Okay. So now all these styles, like I said, are for when our nav wrap is opened. So what we want to do now is, let's style it for when it is closed. Then we're going to give it these styles when it is opened. But how do we do that? So how we can do that is, all these styles, we will apply all these styles when it has a certain class. Let's give it an open class. So when it is open, we apply all these styles. When it is closed, we don't actually have to remove the style. We just need to take it out of the view, make it slide out, and make the background dissolve. Okay, so what we can do is, we can say, let's see the things that we need to change here now for the open and closed states. Okay, so for the open and closed states, when it is, okay, this one is still going to be like this. Okay, normally we won't even have it in our display. So let's assume this is for when it is open. Wait. Okay, let me say dot open. Okay, let me do it like this. So, and dots. Okay. So I'm trying to see what are the things we'll be changing to what's it called, to transform it from the open state to the closed state, like that. So basically we'll be changing this. I think we'll be changing this entire thing to display none when it is closed. So display none. So that means when it is open, I need to bring the display back to display block. So that is okay. Now also when it is closed, this opacity or this background here would be changing. So the background is going to be completely transparent when it is closed. So I'm going to be putting that here. So the opacity is going to be 0. So that is completely transparent. So it will go from completely transparent to this. So let me give it a transition, since we want the, so we'll say transition background. So we can't transition background, so let me change it as background color. So we transition our background color. Okay, I think that one is fixed. Okay, now the position here, it is left of 0. Okay, we don't need to adjust position of this one. The one we need to adjust the position for is the nav content.
Nav content.
Yeah, because the main container, this one is just going to, only the opacity will change. It will remain in the same position.
Yes.
It's this one that is going to slide in.
Slide in.
Yeah. So right now it is top 0, right 0. But before it is opened, the right should be minus 67%. Same as the width, so that it will stay exactly on the edge. So we see our nav content. Okay, we can actually bring all these styles. We can bring them outside. We can have it styled and we'll just adjust the position. So all these styles can actually be outside. So when it is opened, we'll just adjust the position. .nav content. So when it is closed, where is it? When it is closed, we want the right to be minus 67%. Then we're going to translate the right to 0. We'll say right to 0. So we also need a transition on it so that it will move in and out smoothly. So we're going to give it a transition. Right. Ease in and out. Okay, so I think all the other stylings are good. Okay, and this one, we only just need to change to we only need to change the display and the background color. So we can move all this one back up. Yeah, I think that is it. So now at the moment, I think our distance should be closed. Yeah, so we can't say it at the moment because we've moved all that styling to when it has this open class. So we only get all this when we have the open class. So what we can do is, if I add the open class manually to our nav wrap, I give it an open class. Oh, okay. Now we have a little problem. Why is it here and not on this side? I think I did right instead of left.
Left.
Left 0. Nav content. Left. Left. Okay. So, and if we remove that open class, if we go to our HTML and remove the open class, everything goes back to normal. Yeah, so okay, now we need space in between these two. Let's fix that one. I think that's our header. Just give it a space between. Okay, now what is it again? Display grid. Auto 1FR auto. Okay. I think we have to change that. Simply just change it to display flex. Space between.
Space between.
Yeah. this is going to be display flex justify contents space between line items center. So I believe that should fix it. Yep, and we're good to go. So everything is fine now. So now we just have to figure out how do we want to add the open class and remove it. So that is JavaScript that will be helping us. So whenever we click on this, we want to add that open class. Then whenever we click on the close, we want to remove the open class. Okay, so now on to JavaScript. Ah, God, I'm tired. I have the controlling. So when we click this, we want to add that open class. So we'll see the nav. Then when we click on that close icon, we want to remove the open class. So the nav will go away. So that is as simple as what we want to do. So basically, when I want to do stuff like this, and this is how I usually advise other people to do it also. We start with what's it called? I don't know if some of you saw it on the group the last time when one guy was mentioning something about pseudocodes. Did you see
I don't
it?
think I was around.
No, not this group, the general group. Okay, so this is basically how coding works. Coding is you're basically giving computers instruction. So you have to break down this instruction to like the barest minimum, step by step. They call them algorithm. So you have to break it down into all these simple algorithms so that the computer can execute it for you. So basically what we want to do here now, let's just write out what we want to do in comments. So if you want to write comments in JavaScript, you put /, then you write a comment there. So what we want to do is add the open class to navwrap. I think it was navwrap when the hamburger menu.
That's correct.
When the hamburger button is clicked. And the second thing we want to do is remove the open class when the close button is clicked. It is as simple as that. Abina, is there anything else you want to do?
Nope.
So now let's break this down because JavaScript obviously doesn't understand this. So how do we break this down? So I'm teaching you how to like translate straight from English to JavaScript like this. This is JavaScript 101 right here. So okay, now this is what we want to do. We know what we want to do, but how can we explain to JavaScript what to do? So a good way of breaking this down is telling JavaScript that okay, there are some things JavaScript does not understand. Let's highlight the things JavaScript doesn't understand. JavaScript doesn't know what our navwrap is. JavaScript doesn't know what the hamburger is.
Okay.
And JavaScript doesn't know when the hamburger button is clicked. So those are the things we want to help it outline. So first, say let's show JavaScript the what's it called? The navwrap and the hamburger. So adding the navwrap. So how do we help JavaScript identify the navwrap? Let me disable this copilot. It is disturbing me.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So yeah, now our navwrap won't be changing, so we can declare it as a constant. So I'm going to say const. So let me name it navwrap. Our navwrap. So we are trying to tell JavaScript what navwrap is. So how can we tell JavaScript what navwrap is? We need to reference the elements we're referring to as navwrap, which is this. I think what we can just do is give it an ID also. Oh no, we can just use the class directly.
Class, yeah.
So it has a class of navwrap. So what we're going to do is we're going to say document
get element by class. Navwrap.
We can just do query selector.
Okay.
Then since it is a class, you put dot.
Then dot before.
then navbar. Yes.
Navbar.
Yeah.
So query selector combines class and everything. It helps you to like basically the same way you use CSS. Dot for class, pound for ID. So it allows you to
So what's the
select.
difference between get element by ID and by class and query selector then the class?
It's the same thing, but the thing is, get elements by class can only get class. Get elements by ID can only get by ID. Query selector can get by class and ID. So I always use like query selector most times. So if it is a class, I just put dots before it. Same way you do in CSS. If it is an ID, I just
What
put
about
pound.
there's another thing like can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Uncle?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
There's another thing like query selector or what about that? What's the difference between this and query selector?
Okay. Now you know that two items.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Two items can have the same class.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear
Hello,
you,
we
John.
can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, I'll show you query selector all now. Okay. So now remember what we did here. Remember what we
I don't
did
think I
here.
can hear also.
He's having
Network
connection
issue.
issue. I think his audio is lagging. I think we will eventually hear what we're saying. Okay, the query selector all is talking about, it allows us to select multiple elements at the same time. So let me show for example here now. This mobile class that I did here, I gave it to two elements. I gave it to our close element and I also gave it to our hamburger. Can you see?
Yes.
So the two of them have this similar class of mobile. So I can actually use that to get the two of them directly in my JavaScript without having to like get them separately. So I can just say, what can I name the two of them? Let me just say const menu buttons. Let me call them menu buttons.
Okay.
Would be equal to document dot query selector all, because I know I want to select more than one thing. Now what do I want to select? I want to select these items that have a class of mobile. So what this will do is it will get me both the menu, the hamburger icon and the close icon.
Yeah.
Do you understand now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So now we know our nav wrap, we gotten our hamburger button, we've also gotten the close button. Now what do we want to do? So we want to tell JavaScript that anytime the menu buttons get clicked, if it's the hamburger menu or the close menu, if the menu is opened, close it. If it is closed, open it. That's basically what we're doing. Yeah. So what we're going to do is, okay, when do we want it to do this? We want it to do this when there is a click on any of these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to add what is called an event listener. Yeah, specifically a click event listener. So now you know these menu buttons now, there are more than one. So we can iterate through them. I can say menu buttons for each. So for each means each of the buttons there. So take the button, then I'll say each of that button dot add event listener. So the event we want to listen for is a click event. So what do we want it to do when you click on it? So what we want it to do is, you take your nav wrap, then what we want to do is we want to add and remove the open class, right? So we can just simply say class list dot toggle open. So what that is going to do is, if the open class is there, it is going to remove it. If the open class is not there, it is going to add it. So basically, if it is opened, it will close it. If it is closed, it is going to open it. So I think that is all we need to do. Yeah, so let's test this out. So that is how you interpret functions into JavaScript. So yep, open, close, open, close. But we're not having our animation. What is?
I think Is the time too small for it?
I'll look at it.
Is it possible that time is too short for it?
No, I don't think that's the reason.
Okay.
Or maybe it might be. But at least it's still supposed to animate a bit. Okay. I think the display that was switching is what is causing it. Let me try something. Let me remove the display and see what happens. Okay, that is going to be covering the entire thing. So let me give you the pointer events none.
What does this mean?
This means I'll explain in a second.
Alright.
Yes. Okay,
Nice.
now it is working. But it's the display. So it's the display that can't be animated. That is what is causing that. Okay, so what is happening is this nav wrap, since I removed the display none, the nav wrap is still on top of the entire thing.
Okay.
I don't know if I can still inspect it. Okay, the nav wrap is on top of the entire thing, but you know initially it was completely transparent, then it will change to black.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can't see it, but it is on the entire page. So let me show you.
Okay.
So if you see now, can you see div nav wrap?
Yes.
It is on the entire page, but it is transparent.
Okay.
So because of that now, I can't click on this menu button. Can you see it is blocking the menu button?
Yes.
So in order to remove that behavior, that is what this pointer event none. It means like just pretend like it is not there at all. So
Not there. Okay.
I can go through it and now be able to like click the menu button behind it.
Okay.
So now this pointer events all. So let me comment that one out now and show you what will happen. You know, already set pointer events none, so that means I won't be able to like click on it or do anything. So if I leave it like that, what will happen is once I open this, okay, yeah, it's actually still working.
Still working.
Yeah, I don't need to add pointer events all back. So yeah, I think our functionality is complete.
Yes.
Sweet. So it always stays on top even though you scroll.
Okay.
So you close it. So this is how you build a responsive navbar.